What's going on? What's good, guys? Mike is in the building. Today we're going to remove and install new spark plug on the Ducati Monster. Let's take a look and see what's required before we get started. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. If you dig what I'm doing, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Let's get it. You're going to need a cleaning cloth just to keep your working area nice and clean and your bike tidy. The anti-seize lubricant for when you're putting the new spark plugs back in. You're going to need the spark plug gap gauge, the spark plug socket. It's not a must. You can actually use a deep socket for this, but just to make your life a little bit easier, on the inside there are grooves in there. Once you place it on the spark plug, you're removing it. It basically holds it in place. When you pull everything out, it comes out all together. And of course, go by what's recommended by your service manual on your motorcycle. These are the ones that are recommended to me. You can do better spark plugs, but then again, there are a lot of variables between that. So I'm sticking to what works and what I know that works best for my bike. Mechanic gloves, keeping your hands clean. You need a socket wrench. And lastly, you're going to need a torque wrench. It's recommended to torque it down, but if you don't have a torque wrench, there are ways around it where you can kind of tighten it and then do one more go around and then you'll be finished. But for me, I'd rather be certain that I'm tightening it properly. I have a torque wrench. Before you start on this project, two things I'm gonna highly recommend you doing before you do anything. One, you're gonna take your spark plugs. Mine are pre-gap, but I'm gonna make sure that they are to the right specification. For my specific Ducati, the gap is supposed to be between 0.7 and 0.8 millimeters. The reason I'm doing that very early on in the video, when I remove the old spark plugs, I don't want anything to fall into the combustion chamber. So I'm gonna do that pre-gap, take the old ones out, get the work done nice and quickly. That way the cylinder heads are not, exposed for a long period of time. You're gonna use your gap gauge here. There we are. That's our spark plug. Perfectly fine, between 0.8 and 0.7 millimeter. Now I'm going to pull out the second one here. That one's a little bit off. What we're going to do is we're going to open up slightly. You're going to use the same gap gauge here. Both spark plugs are now between 7 to 8 millimeter gap, and now we're ready to get started. The other tip I wanted to give you guys here, there you go. You just want to make sure that it is clean in here. That way nothing falls into the cylinder head. So if you have like a dust blower before you unscrew that off, that'd be great. If not, use a rag to kind of clean it out before you do that. Here's the interesting thing about spark plugs on a motorcycle, guys. You want to remove them after a certain amount of mileage. It's almost like doing a blood test, blood work for your engine. It's going to tell you how well the engine is doing, if it's healthy. If you know what you're doing, you'll see the spark plug. You'll have an idea how well the engine is doing. If not, you can take it to your mechanic, your local dealership, and have them look at it and let you know what's going on if you're not too certain. Let's get this thing off. Spark plug remover in your socket. I have to grab my extension. There you go. And that's the beauty of having that spark plug remover. If you look here, it's gonna come out all together. There we go. And you can actually see how the bike is doing. It's burning well. Now we have the new spark plug, and I got my anti-seize lubricant here. I'm gonna put a little bit here on the thread before going back in. Here's the new spark plug, a little anti-seize lubricant here I'm gonna apply here. You might not need as much, but man, it's very hard doing these videos and making sure you're doing everything correctly. Make sure you don't get any of the lubricant on the top of the spark plug, just on the thread. Before you start tightening anything down, the other tip I would recommend is to start threading it with your hand so you don't cause any damage. It should go fairly easy with just your fingers. Nice. And that's in. Pretty much it, guys. You gotta tighten this down. with the torque wrench. There you go. Heard that click, and we're good. And we're gonna place back our cap here. Okay. At the second cylinder head, I'm gonna pull this bad boy off here. There you go. Right here. Same thing here. See how your engine is doing. Now we're gonna get a little bit. I'm not applying as much. It's just I have gloves on. It's applying. It's looking like there's a lot. Make sure it does not go at the top of the spark plug. You just want to put it around the threads. That's it. Now we're gonna thread it in by hand, like I said. Don't start tightening anything down. Not as difficult doing it with the video. Making sure you guys could see it makes it a little bit tough sometimes. Here we are. There we go. Now that it's hand tight, you're going to check your service manual for the torque spec, and then you torque these down. You place these covers back on, the caps. You should be good to go. Let's get that going. Now we're going to take our torque wrench. I'm going to keep going until you hear that click. There you go. Now I'm going to replace that cap back on. There you go, guys. That's all to it to replace your spark plug. That's pretty much it, man. Good luck on changing your spark plug on your Ducati Monster. Hope to see you guys out there doing this on your own and saving some money. And remember, stay up, be humble, and be easy. If you apply a little pressure here, it slide right in. Just